Special relativity, and the afterlife. Afterlife prediction: you have an eternal existence. Special relativity redefined our ideas of space and time. Both become merged into a unified four-dimensional whole called spacetime. Albert Einstein developed special relativity in 1905, his miracle year. As incredible as its predictions were, every time a prediction of relativity has been tested, it has been proven right. Special relativity overturned an idea espoused by Newton, and believed since the time of Euclid, who established geometry in 300 BC, the idea that time and space are absolutes. If time were absolute, then everyone should agree on the order of events and what exists and happens in the present moment of time. Absolute time also implies time flows at the same rate for everyone. Relativity forced us to dispense with all these ideas. The rate time flows, the order of events, and the content of the present are not absolute, but relative. Different observers can disagree. Quote, are two events, for example the two strokes of lightning A and B, which are simultaneous with reference to the railway embankment, also simultaneous relatively to the train? We shall show directly that the answer must be in the negative. End quote. Albert Einstein in Relativity, the Special and the General Theory, 1916. The only way to reconcile their different viewpoints is through a four-dimensional reality where time and change are illusions. Asking what event happens first is like asking what seed comes first in an apple. Events are embedded in spacetime like seeds are embedded in apples. There is no absolute ordering to the seeds. The order you encounter them depends on the angle you choose to slice through the apple. One of the first to notice this implication of special relativity was Einstein's teacher Hermann Minkowski. Since then, Einstein and other physicists have adopted it. It is now a standard view among physicists. Quote, the views of space and time which I wish to lay before you have sprung from the soil of experimental physics, and therein lies their strength. They are radical. Henceforth, space by itself, and time by itself, are doomed to fade away into mere shadows, and only a kind of union of the two will preserve an independent reality. End quote. Einstein's Professor Hermann Minkowski, in Space and Time, 1909. Quote, it appears therefore more natural to think of physical reality as a four-dimensional existence, instead of, as hitherto, the evolution of a three-dimensional existence. End quote. Albert Einstein in Relativity, the Special and General Theory, 15th edition, 1952. Should special relativity be correct, it has implications for the afterlife. Special relativity's predictions for the afterlife. In four-dimensional spacetime, change, as a future coming into being and then disappearing into a non-existent past, doesn't happen. According to relativity, the word now becomes like the word here. Neither word reflects a property of the universe, but instead reflects a property of the person speaking it. Quote, just as we envision all of space as really being out there, as really existing, we should also envision all of time as really being out there, as really existing too. End quote. The physicist Brian Greene in The Elegant Universe, 1999. So if the four-dimensionalism of special relativity is true, then we are eternal beings. We live forever across all times, spanning our existence. Quote, of course, man is four-dimensional, just like all other organisms and objects. This mere situation implies that there is a life after death, namely, that part of the four-dimensional human being that exists after the moment of his death. End quote. C.W. Ryatijkin, Four-Dimensional Reality Continued, 2018. On March 15, 1955, Michel Besseau, a dear friend to Einstein, died. Einstein wrote a letter of condolence to Besseau's widow. Quote, Now he has again preceded me a little in parting from this strange world. This has no importance. For people like us who believe in physics, the separation between past, present and future has only the importance of an admittedly tenacious illusion." End quote. Albert Einstein, in a letter to Bezos' family, 1955. Relativity tells us we must dispense with the idea that time flows or that there's an objective present. In this revised view, Julius Caesar is alive, he's just in a location 2,000 light-years away in spacetime. From Caesar's viewpoint, the present is a little before 0 AD, and none of us are yet born. Our opinion that he is long dead doesn't bother him, no more than the opinions of people born in 4000 AD bother us. It's also no coincidence the present year happens to be a time during your life, rather than a billion years in the past or future. You will always find yourself at a point in time where you exist. Some 2,500 years ago, the Greek philosopher Parmenides argued that existence is timeless and any appearance of change is an illusion. Quote, "What is uncreated and indestructible, alone, complete, immovable and without end." End quote. Parmenides in The Way of the Truth, circa 475 BC. We also find the idea of timeless existence within Eastern religions. For example in Hinduism. Quote, "The unchanging Om is the All. Its expansion is, what has been, what is, what shall be. And what is beyond the three times, is also Om. For all this is the eternal, and this self is the eternal, and this self has four aspects." End quote. Mandukya Upanishad, circa 200 AD. Religions that consider God to know the future, or God to be outside of time often describe future events as already existing, at least within the mind of God. Quote, "God, owing to his infallible prescience of the future, has appointed and ordained from eternity all events occurring in time, especially those that directly proceed from, or at least are influenced by, man's free will." End quote. The Catholic Encyclopedia. There exist times long before you were born and times long after you died. But despite the opinions of people in those other times, you are here, alive and well, within the time span of your life. That is our true nature, as four-dimensional beings. Many religions promise eternal life. If special relativity is true, you already have it. You exist eternally. Your life is yours forever. For more on special relativity, see, What is Time?